¿Qué tal, gente? Soy Lobito, bienvenidos a otro video del canal, bienvenidos a otro video de Genshin Impact. El día de hoy vamos a jugar la misión de aventura de NAVIA. Por primera vez las voy a jugar aquí en el canal y me voy a divertir mucho, estoy seguro que va a ser una muy buena historia. Estoy aquí en las afueras de Poisson, porque estoy seguro de que aquí va a empezar la misión, ojalá, porque si no voy a quedar como un tonto. Pero bien, canónicamente voy a seguir lo más canónico posible. Estoy yendo solo con la viajera, obviamente, porque es canon. Lumin es canon, a mí no me van a... Cambien mi mente, Lumin es canon. Así que nada, vamos a iniciar con la misión. Que desbloquearla. Ok, me equivoqué, iniciamos en la corte de Fontaine. Ok, caminando. No esperaba que aparecieras así de frente, pero bueno. ¿Por qué siento que esquipé algo que debía haber? Propícenos nuestra dosis diaria de aventura. No tenemos ningún... A ver, danos una de... A Poisson.
We've wrapped up most of the rebuilding, but there are still a few things left to take care of. Stocking up on materials, confirming construction timelines, discussing compensation terms with families affected by the disaster.
Melus y Silver, que...
Between all
mis
of
respetos
that,
a Melus y
I've been
Silver.
making a lot of trips between the court and Poisson.
Pero en Poisson. Pero Espina di Rosula también es una víctima.
Though the victims have received relief payments from the court, in my opinion, as the administrators of Poisson, Spina di Rosula should take some responsibility as well. Our financial situation right now isn't the best, so all we've been doing is signing agreements for the damages to be repaid at a later date. Though just pieces of paper now, they demonstrate our commitment. They're
No, perdón, Navia, te interrumpí.
You're a really responsible leader. That must be taking up most of your time though, right?
Oh, you bet. Between that and all the other errands I have to run at the court, I'm always forgetting one thing or another.
Es obvio,
So before I came
cuando
over
estás
this
con tanta
time, I
responsabilidad.
took a page from Melus's book and
Melus.
decided to make a list of everything.
Descansa en
This
paz,
way,
Melus.
it's easy to see which tasks you haven't checked off. And then, since Melus loved using shorthand, I decided to also follow his example and come up with some shorthand of my own. But after running a few errands in the city, I'm kind of struggling to even read my own handwriting anymore.
Me suele pasar a mí también.
That does sound like you, all right. So what kind of shorthand did you use?
Oh, wanna take a look?
Let Paimon see. Wait, there's nothing here but a bunch of weird symbols. This looks like a
Alga pinchada en un pal. Brochetas de algas. Jabalí metido en una caja, ok.
Is it supposed to be a boar in a box?
The first one has to do with confirming the final payment amount for the fishermen, while the second one is a reminder to try the new burger that just hit the market.
Una hamburguesa, ok, eres de las mías.
Okay,
Eres de los míos.
definitely
Eres de los
see
míos,
how you
Navia.
might forget what each
Yo
of
también
these
amo las
mean.
hamburguesas. A ver, ¿qué tal si la próxima vez utilizas un símbolo? Y si a la próxima simplemente escribes la tarea, o sea, también ya no te compliques mucho las cosas, o sea, ya la tienes muy complicada y quieres complicártela más también.
I thought that as long as I understood my shorthand when I came up with it, I'd be sure to remember the symbols when I looked at them later. Unfortunately, I've definitely proven myself wrong.
Well, now you know for next time.
Anyway, I should have already taken care of most of the things on the list. There are still a few symbols that I can't decipher, but I don't think they're anything too super important.
Exacto.
Worst comes to worst, I'll just make another trip.
Ah, so you're going to head back now?
A
Yep,
Poisson.
and that's the plan. Oh, actually, since we talked about the reconstruction earlier, want to come with me and check? You said you don't have any plans, right? So we can just catch a boat and head over.
Tranquila, soy ingeniero, puedo apoyarte con la construcción.
But Paimon doesn't see why not. What do you think, traveler?
Then let's
Sí.
go. We'll take a boat over.
Oh, you mean the aquabus, right?
Oh, sorry. I meant our own boat. The aquabus doesn't have a station near Poisson, so we'll use one of the Spinas.
¿En serio me están dando la opción de hacer hora y a tomar... definitivamente voy a ir. O sea, ¿por qué
I'll take you
me
there.
haces opción, Genshin? Sabes que voy a ir. Me haces perder tiempo eligiendo una opción. Ah, es que te teletransporta directamente. Oh.
The engineer is still doing a few routine safety checks. We can head out as soon as we get the green light.
So, Paimon has always wanted to ask. The 3 Aquabus lines are all named after people in your family, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Ah.
Callus and Navia are self-explanatory, while Clementine was the name that my mother went by.
Ah, ahora todo tiene sentido. Ya decía yo, ¿por qué hay una cualina que se llama Navia? Y había olvidado ese
Why
detalle.
isn't there even a
De
dedicated
que son
line to
familiares
Poisson?
de... Ah, Poisson.
Spina di Rosula built all the lines, yet you still have to take a special boat just to go home. Paimon doesn't get it.
Well, what I heard is that most of our businesses don't actually use Poisson as a hub.
Poisson.
So there was no real reason to build a line straight to Poisson. You are
Poisson.
right that it is a bit strange, though. If you've already committed to build 3 lines, why not just add a 4th?
Hay una línea más que da para el norte, pero la cualina está rota.
It's really a huge
En medio, el
shame.
puente está completamente roto.
Well,
Que da para los
it is what
antiguos
it
laboratorios
is.
donde están
You
esos
know
cubos
what
de
my
agua
father was
gigantes.
like. Even I often struggled to figure out what was going on in his head. But that would only be the case if he cared about what others thought. My father was always really stubborn. Once he made up his mind, good luck getting him to change it.
Ah,
From
era
what I've
terco.
heard,
Eso es lo
the
que me está
rights of all
diciendo.
the other members of the Spina only went as far as giving him advice or suggestions, and no farther. That included my mother, too.
Huh. Well, that explains why you weren't on the greatest of terms with him.
Yeah, because I wouldn't just let him keep getting his way. He was just... not
No
very
llores,
agreeable.
Navia, por favor.
Boss, the boat's ready. We can head out.
All right, then let's head out.
Ya te hemos visto llorar bastante. No queremos verte sufrir más, Navia, por favor. Juntos sobre las olas activado. ¿Qué? Bonita introducción, ¿eh?
It'll be a while before we get to Poisson.
Poisson.
Let's keep talking.
Navia, what was your mother like as a person?
Oh, eso me interesa. Ay, también, verdad, es cierto, Paimon, Paimon, no, 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 no. Paimon, eres una...
She passed away during childbirth, so you probably don't remember her at all.
That's all right. I've heard many stories about her from the rest of the Spina. They've always said that they were sure we would have gotten along famously. While my papa was stiff like a board, my mother was supposedly super cheerful and funny. Their complementary personalities allowed them to make up for each other's flaws. My father
Los
would run
opuestos
the
se atraen, eso
businesses and
siempre.
expand our reach, while my mother would keep the peace and make sure that everyone was happy. They're
Sounds like they were not just a well-matched couple, but fantastic business partners as well.
Yeah, but those are just stories and anecdotes after all. It's hard for me to piece together a more complete or intimate picture of her. But sometimes, I'd still look at the Clementine line and wonder, would the Spina and Poisson still be what they
Poisson.
are today had my mother survived? Silver once said that a name is a kind of inscription, a way to etch a memory into the world. When given, so
No, perdón.
I will always associate the line with her in my heart. Over the past few weeks, I've also begun to appreciate how water can take in and hold our most intense feelings and memories, as well as how one may reflect on their past by watching the sea. I've lost many beloved people and memories to the sea. Even though I cannot stop for them and must continue to keep moving, the fact won't change that they existed in my life and gave me the reason and motivation to move forward.
Ay, no quiero hacer esta pregunta. No quiero hacer esta pregunta, de verdad.
Always. But no matter
No elegí
what,
nada.
we can't
No elegí
change the
nada,
past.
solito.
But I tell myself that I need to keep looking
Okay.
towards the future. Everyone, even my parents, have already overcome
Confirmado,
so
han
many
añadido una nueva
obstacles.
función que hace que automáticamente se coja un diálogo porque no le he dado...
Besides, I'm the president
¿Estoy
of
con el
Spina di
modo automático, en
Rosula.
serio o no?
I've got to keep my chin up.
No, no estoy presionando nada. What? What? No estoy presionando. No está en modo automático. ¿Genshin? Bueno, creo que toda esta
We've reached the
secuencia está
shore.
automática. Miren, el modo
Let's go.
automático está desactivado.
I'll
Miren,
show
no
you
voy a
the
darle
new
clic a nada.
Poisson.
Porque cuando doy clic se escucha el sonido. Ok. Creo que solo el viaje estaba siempre en automático. Bueno, no sé, me ha asustado por un segundo. Pensé que algo estaba pasando.
Navia, do you think she's doing alright?
Está triste, definitivamente está luchando por superar todo lo que pasó. Y siempre ha tenido que enfrentarse a una... o sea,
Okay, Paimon supposes you're right. She's really been through a lot.
no, definitivamente ha cargado con muchas cosas Navia y de verdad que me da mucha pena. A ver, nos vamos a Poisson. Cuando pasó lo de la inundación, honestamente pensé que la gente de aquí de Poisson era la primera que iba a sufrir, pero... no lo sé, tal vez haya un plan de contingencia o algo, ¿no? Un plan de emergencia. Algo que... algo para evitar los desastres, ¿no? Supongo.
Boss, you're back! Traveler in Paimon, welcome back to Poisson.
¿Qué va Poisson? ¿Qué tal, Florent?
Oh, hey! Fancy seeing you again, Florent.
Florent! Oh!
Hey, I can totally take care of myself. For the time being, I'll go around without any attendance. We did hand over some of Malus's old responsibilities to Florent, though. It's been really nice to have him around to help out.
Thank you for the
Ok, o
compliment,
sea,
boss.
sus actividades han sido... o sea, Navia ahora anda sola.
As you see, I've been working closely with the boss on rebuilding Poisson.
A Poisson.
Mr. Malus was an extremely capable and respected member of the Spina.
Pero...
I've got some really big shoes to
pero
fill.
es Spina de Rosula is Spina di Rosula. Suena, suena
All
italiano
right,
más que
all right.
francés.
There's no need to be so formal. Everyone's practically old friends by now. Were you waiting here for me?
Aunque bueno, Fontaine también
Did
tiene un
we manage
poquito
to
de
make
inspiración de
any
Italia,
progress
así
on the
que
statue?
no lo veo
Yeah,
como
we
una...
contacted a sculptor about the job.
es una
They
posibilidad
can't get
muy
started
pequeña,
on
pero...
sourcing a correctly sized block without knowing the design that we want to use first.
You're commissioning a statue?
¿Una estatua de quién?
So basically, we've been meaning to commission a statue of my parents in commemoration of everything they've done for the Spina and the town of Poisson.
A Poisson.
But since my father was known as callously unfaithful for the longest time, it would have been too controversial to commission a statue
Sí,
of him.
sí, eso es cierto.
But now that his name has been cleared, and the town is also being rebuilt, I thought this would be the perfect chance to actually realize this dream.
The funds to build the
Podría
statue were
ser,
freely
claro.
donated by the people of Poisson to show their appreciation for Miss Clementine and Mr. Callis and everything
Ok,
they
y
did.
Navia debería estar en la estatua también.
Me? I'm just the newbie president that's running around and causing everyone trouble.
No lo
Maybe
creo,
we
de
can have
verdad.
this conversation again in a few decades, once I've done more for the town and the people.
Hey, there's no need to be so humble. Didn't you just help save the entire country?
I agree wholeheartedly. I also believe that Boss should have a place on the statue.
Hey, if you keep inflating my ego like this, I might just float off into the sky with my parasol. Just kidding. There's no way that I'd accept that kind of compliment at face value. At a minimum, I'd have to match what my father did for the people.
Tarde o temprano tendrá esta estatua.
Thanks for the vote of confidence. I just don't think I'm ready yet. Anyway, Florent, now it's up to us to confirm the final design, right?
Mm-hmm. We can ask the sculptor to start looking for a good block once we've decided on the poses for Miss Clementine and Mr. Callis. But we haven't had any real discussions yet on the possible designs. I feel like I should get a few promising
Bronce,
designs
hermano.
first, and then
El
send them
mejor
over to you
material
to
para hacer
review.
estatuas es bronce.
There's no need for all that. Let's decide on a design right now. Hey, you! Come over here with me.
Como, oye, tú, ven acá. ¿Yo?
Modeling a few poses, of course. Here, just pretend to be Callus, and I'll be Clementine.
Pero yo no conocí nunca a tu padre, ¿cómo puedo?
Didn't you say on the boat that Callus and Clementine sounded like great partners? Well, then there's no one better to fill this role than my most valuable partner.
Oh,
Florent, let's grab
me
some
siento halagado, de
reference
verdad,
shots.
que me consideres tu mejor compañero.
You've got it, boss. I'll go get the camera.
Well, what do you think? Got any ideas?
¿Y si mejor grabamos un TikTok ahorita?
Well, I've actually discussed it a bit with Florent before.
Oh, Florent.
But I could never come up with any fresh or original ideas.
Me encanta todo esto,
It's
no, todas estas
probably
cosas
because
francesas,
my
¿verdad?
idea of them is already kind of set in stone. So, I want to pick your brain for a bit and see if you can come up with some new and interesting ideas.
I'm all good here, boss. Feel free to start posing whenever.
Bien, entonces probar con una pose imponente, mirando al horizonte, una pose alegre. ¿Cómo podría ser? Una pose alegre.
Happy pose. You mean something like we were laughing together at a funny joke?
No, tampoco tan exagerado.
Would all that be able to come through with just a
Yo
picture?
pensé que era simplemente sonreír, no reír. Yo nunca dije
Able to tell what
reírse.
they're supposed to be laughing about?
Yeah, and that'd probably be a massive pain to sculpt as well.
Could one of you try striking a pose like you're talking while the other...
No sé, no, creo que escogí la opción equivocada.
That actually sounds pretty hard to pull off. Forget it, let's try something else.
Ya, mirando al horizonte, eso es mucho más fácil, porque es
By
estar
that,
simplemente
do you
mirando.
mean
Creo que
as
perdí
if
tiempo.
We were standing on a boat and looking out at the sea? Sure, let's give that a try.
Eso está mucho
Yeah,
mejor.
you remind Paimon of a captain and their first mate. Look over there, my dear Clementine. As you can see,
Yarr.
every tree on that island is dripping
Yarr,
with mold.
ahoy, marineros.
But there's something off with the composition. This pose makes Mr. Callus look too tall next to the lady.
Oh, I see what you mean. Then let's swap.
Ok.
Well, Paimon is a fan. A statue like this would
Ah.
look fantastic on a boat.
Wait, but we can't do that. Very few people would see the statue if we were to put it on a boat. This statue is meant to be placed in the town.
But then, since we're putting it in the town, the whole point of the pose would be lost.
Oh.
Oh, okay. We'll try to think of something else.
Una pose imponente podría ser, ¿eh?
Imposing, huh? Oh, I've got it. Let's try this.
A ver. Compañeras en el crimen.
Pose. It makes me recall Spina di Rosula's glorious golden age.
Somos gangsters.
But isn't Clementine's pose a bit too bold and heroic? Was she really that kind of person? If we were to stick with this pose, maybe people would wonder if she was actually the real boss behind the scenes.
Well, tabloids did indeed speculate as much back in the day, but the Spina pulled a few strings, made both the report and the
Ay,
journalist
ay, ay.
Disappear.
Oh, Paimon was just...
Esto me hace pensar que quizás Espina de Rosula sí es una mafia.
What Florent meant was that we asked the journalist to choose a new alias. You're right, though, that this may not accurately represent the image of her in our hearts. Let's try to come up with something else.
A ver. Ahí está. Perfecto. Ah, no. Y las horas pasan y seguimos tomando fotos.
We tried a bunch of different ideas, but none of them felt right. Paimon's all out of brain juice now, too.
Oh, don't worry. We still got a lot of reference shots out of the session, and each of them can be considered to be a souvenir in their own right. Man, if I knew I was going to do a photo shoot with the Traveler, I would have prepared a lot of outfits and props ahead of time.
Oh.
Oh, outfits! Oh, that's the errand I forgot back in the city.
¿Adele?
Do either of you still remember that
¿Adele? ¿En serio?
girl I
¿Adele?
went to see
Wow.
with you two? Her name is Adele.
No me acuerdo. Yo sé que es una cantante, pero...
She was the one that we met while investigating Mr. Callus's case, right?
Yes.
Pero ¿cómo es
that's
que no me
exactly
acuerdo de
who
su
I'm
nombre?
talking about. So, after the case,
O sea,
she was finally willing to talk to me. And she told me that she
Bueno,
wanted
por
to
esas
join
cosas
the
me
Spina
encanta
too.
Genshin Impact. Tenemos a Ed Sheeran, tenemos a Taylor Swift y ahora también tenemos a...
I said that's
Adele.
fine, but young children are not allowed to join the Spina. She will just have to wait a few years, and then we'll welcome her with open arms. But how could I get her to believe that I meant what I said? In the end, I came up with an idea. I'd have a Spina uniform made and give it to her as a gift. But I got so busy and distracted in the city.
Algo me dice que
that
nos
I
van a...
forgot to pick
Navia
the
nos va a
uniform
ofrecer
up.
ese uniforme y la viajera va a decir, no, gracias porque mi ropa es especial para mí.
Don't worry, boss. I can send someone to pick it up right away.
On the matter of the statue, we should still come up with a few more ideas for the design. I'll have to trouble you to source some for me.
We could have just done that from the start.
Unas imágenes en las que salimos divinas.
Some value as souvenirs at least.
Me ha encantado todo eso. ¿Y este chivolo?
Navia! Florent, guess who's back?
Oh, Flojan.
Huh? But aren't you supposed to...
Oh, well, if it isn't Coulter.
Coulter.
Back already from the Fortress of Meripede?
That's right. I finally finished serving my time. Gotta say, turns out I was a lot tougher than I thought. After I got out, I immediately made a beeline back to Poisson.
A poisson.
You'd say that familiar briny smell became a primal call, urging me to forget everything else and just come back home. You wouldn't believe how much I've missed Melissa's grilled fish. I dreamed about it every time I had to get a welfare meal down there underneath the sea.
It's good to have you back, Coulter. You look as well as ever.
Esa sonrisa, hermano.
And this guy is?
Let me introduce you. This is Coulter, another of Spina di Rosula's members. He was found guilty and sentenced to the Fortress of Meripede some time ago. But, looking at it now, it was probably another one of Marcel's plots while he worked at the Confrérie of Cabrières.
Oh.
Wait, Mr. Marcel?
Marcel?
What do you mean? He was involved in some sort of plot?
Have you not heard anything at all about the water from the primordial sea case?
Well, I know that Fontaine got flooded, but then the water levels miraculously receded. I thought that was all there was to it and didn't care to ask for any more details. Do you mean Mr. Marcel was somehow involved with all that?
Oh, looks like we'll have to explain everything from the top.
Okay.
That case, a lot of things have happened in Poisson since then.
Poisson.
First things first, let me introduce you to these two. They're my most trusted partners, and they've been with me through thick and thin. Now you could call them Spina di Rosula's VIP helpers.
Su madre.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Somos
I
lo
don't recall
máximo.
Navia ever generously complimenting anyone like that before. So you must be pretty amazing to get
Claro,
that
si
from her.
Navia te halagas porque eres lo máximo.
Yeah, we are indeed pretty amazing. But
En realidad fue Paimon quien se cargó de todo. Me tiento a escoger esta opción, pero la verdad es que voy a ser
Humble
lo más
again,
modesto
as
posible.
always, I see. Even when I was totally sincere with my praise.
Nice. Spina di Rosula always seems to attract great people. Oh, that reminds me. Where are Melusa's
Ay,
sober?
no,
Aren't they
no.
always by
Navia,
your
Navia,
side?
tranquila, por favor, no te pongas triste.
About that,
Coulter, a lot of things happened while you were gone. As you can see, even Poisson isn't quite the same
Poisson.
as how it was before you left.
they lost their lives, keeping me safe during the flood.
Oh.
What did you say? This isn't some kind of morbid welcome home prank, right? You're just scaring me on purpose because I don't know anything about what's happened.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Navia, tranquila, por favor, no te quiero ver llorar, la verdad.
They weren't the only people we lost either. Many others, including Melissa, also lost their lives in the disaster.
Luce and Melissa, dead. They're just gone? Luce. I was planning to give him a surprise gift once I ran into him again in town. I can't believe it.
Ah, man.
hey, keep it together.
Malus and Coulter were friends for many years, and even served on many missions together during the early days of the Spina. I can understand how he feels.
Let's sit down somewhere, so I can tell you everything that has happened while you were gone. Fair warning, there was a lot.
Okay.
Men, qué sad. Habla con Colter. ¿En dónde? ¿Arriba? Ah, en el barco. Navia le explica a Colter lo sucedido recientemente, ¿ok?
All of this. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that those stories were real. It all really happened. Has the world gone mad?
Yo solo sé que son reales porque las vi de...
Both feel the same
Estuve
way
ahí yo,
about
así
the
que...
profound tragedy of Melusa's loss. And the sheer depravity of Marcel's actions.
No, Marcel.
I thought Mr.
Maldito sea
Marcel would
Marcel.
always stand by the Spina.
Todo lo que dice Marcel es que es un nombre muy
Everything he
gracioso.
had, the
Marcel,
Spina
suena como a
gave to
Marcial. Es un nombre muy gracioso.
It's unconscionable to have received all that, and yet still
Fuck
plot
you,
to
Marcel.
kidnap and dissolve you for his insane research.
The good news is that the Confrérie of Cabriere is no more. Gone with them too is the entire
Exacto,
synth
ya no hay cinta,
manufacturing
qué
and
chévere.
distribution network. We finally closed the curtain on that long struggle.
Are you sure? But if Marcel wanted to rebel against us, he probably sent word in secret to Romeu.
Romu?
Rome qué? ¿Romelio?
Not a name I've heard before either.
Florent should remember him.
Florent. Oh,
You see, there was once a major internal dispute regarding funding the construction of the aquabus lines. Romeu was the leader of the faction that thought such a vast sum of mora would be better spent improving the town of Poisson.
Poisson.
But Mr. Callis believed that an opportunity to collaborate with the court of Fontaine and the Fontaine Research Institute was hard to come by, and would allow us to build many valuable relationships. Not only would the aquabus be a good business investment, it would also boost our reputation among the general populace, eventually paying us massive dividends down the line. But the two couldn't come to an agreement. Romeu ended up taking a lot of people with him when he left Spino di Rosula altogether, and the split was on extremely bad terms.
Ugh. And with Papa's stubbornness, I can definitely imagine how it must have gone down.
And of course, when he was suffering the slings and arrows of outrageous injustice, those relationships that he spent a fortune to build didn't help in the least.
Yeah. You could say it was the price he paid for sticking to his beliefs.
No tiene esa pinta de ser el primer conflicto. Claro, tuvieron muchos conflictos.
Point. If Callis was really as stubborn as you say, then wouldn't he have argued with the rank and file all the time?
Es que era una persona con
yeah.
una mentalidad muy
It
cerrada de
eventually
repente.
became a thing that just happened on every day that ended with Y. But Navia, I mean, boss, you might not know this, but he wasn't always like that. He used to be a lot better with taking counsel. With him listening to our advice, and Ms. Clementine also frequently on our side, it was pretty smooth sailing for a good many years. But on the matter of the aquabus, even Ms. Clementine completely stood by Mr. Callis' side.
I never knew. But from my perspective, Romeu's position had a lot going for it.
I think the aquabus was just the straw that broke the camel's back. On that topic, they eventually came to a rather radical
O sea,
conclusion.
Espina de Rosula son los que... La
They
gente de
believed
Espina de
that
Rosula, el señor
Miss Clementine
Callas,
lost her ability to serve
fue
as an
quien
impartial
prácticamente
mediator
impulsó
when
todo
she
ese
became
tema de la
pregnant with
Aqualina,
Callis'
entonces.
child.
Ahora todo tiene sentido.
So, they thought she had betrayed them? But that doesn't make any sense. Before she was their mediator, my mother was also her own person, and a member of the Spina. She should have the right to take any side she wished.
Ok, se supone que Navia se debería ver molesta, pero yo la veo más adorable sí, molesta, de verdad.
Yeah, but to them, even taking a side was betrayal enough. They felt like their voices could no longer be heard once their sole mediator had gone over to the other side. Of course, Ms. Clementine then passed away, and Mr. Callis began to regard the completion of the Aquabus project as her final wish. With that, the last hope of reconciliation was gone.
So that's what happened.
Oh.
From that point on, Romeu and his people cut ties with the Spina, and never gave us any kind of professional or personal courtesy ever again. Perhaps they've regarded us as enemies ever since they left. But even so, there is still no proof that they ever acted in concert with Marcel.
I've also heard that they aren't in a good financial position, so they've been lying low for a while. But as long as they exist, they'll continue to be a threat.
I think Coulter's got a point. Both Marcel and Romeo had my father in their sights for a very long time. Even though Marcel's faction has been dissolved, we still don't know anything about Romeo's whereabouts. If they're still trying to get revenge on us, with how distracted and vulnerable we are, now would be the best time.
Good thinking, boss. We should keep an eye on them at all times. I'll let my men know right away.
Thank you for that, Florent.
Florent.
And Coulter, thank you for telling me about this as well.
Don't worry.
Florent y
it's nothing.
Coulter.
Do you have a moment right now? How about we go out for a walk? I've heard so many incredulous things today. I'm finding it a bit hard to calm down even now.
Y que lo
I
digas.
mean, to think that I'll just never see them again.
In that case, why don't we go back to the court? I can pick up Adele's uniform while we're there as well. It'll save Laurent's guys a trip.
Oh, Florent.
Want to come
Y
with
vamos
me,
a ver a
Danny,
Adele.
too?
Vamos a hablar con Adele. No puedo
You don't
creerlo.
mind, do you, Coulter?
Of course. That's fine by me.
Then let's go! Paimon feels like a lot's hinging on this visit.
Estamos deseando conocer al futuro miembro de Espina de
We really
Rosunda.
are the best of partners. Come on, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Are we not taking the boat this time?
It's nice to walk from time to time, isn't it? Think of it as something like a hiking trip. Once we're there, we can stay a few days before we return.
Sounds good. I haven't walked this road in a long time.
O sea, ¿quieres que caminemos a pie hasta allá? Ya, Navia, también te pasas a veces, ¿eh?
Well, we've walked far enough for now. Let's take a break. Since we're out for a walk, we shouldn't stress too much about the destination.
Yo diría que sí.
I've grown old, so I'm not as fit as before. It's a good thing that at least my work down in the fortress was quite the workout.
Well, Paimon thinks you're doing great. We didn't have to slow down for you at all.
Back in the days before the aquabus lines were built, we often had to hike north with our goods, then catch a boat to the court. Malus and I must have traveled this way hundreds of times. When we were tired, we would lay down for a while on the grass, and when we were hungry, we'd catch a fish or two. The Spina was still on the rise back
Eran muy
then.
buenos amigos.
Mr. Callis was generous, and everyone had the chance to strike it rich. So, of course, we all worked really hard. And now, in the blink of an eye, the aquabus lines have been built, and this road has fallen into disuse.
Así uno puede...
Oh, I
Exacto.
know. I was just being a
Alejarte de
little
las multitudes.
nostalgic.
Then let's stay here a bit longer. Anyone want snacks?
Macarrones.
Oh, is this another chance to try some of Navia's macarons?
Macarrones.
Yep, I figured you wouldn't say no to a few more. Oh, wait. Let me check if I have all the ingredients. Malus and Silver used
Ay,
to take
no.
care of tasks like this. Okay, the stove's looking good. And as for the ingredients, seems like we're all out of flour and sugar. The two most important ingredients of all.
A la orden, mi reina.
Would you? Oh, but it would be too much to ask you to go on a trip just for those.
We should contribute to making the macaron too. Don't
Okay.
worry, we cook out in the wild all the time, so she should have some stuff on hand.
Oh, that's great. Then I'll leave the ingredient gathering to you. As long as we have some sweet flowers
Flores,
and wheat,
dulces y trigo,
I
ok.
can start the baking.
No es como que tenga
But
más de
I'll go
1000 de
look for
esos
some
en
boxes
mi inventario,
nearby
pero...
for a makeshift table and
No,
chairs.
tengo menos, pero igual.
Great. Then I'll prep the stove. Let's get to work, everyone.
Me imagino un jugador novato que recién ha llegado a esta misión yendo a buscar trigo y flores dulces. Vamos a hacer la finta de que vamos a recoger y vamos a hacer algo. Chama, tu pedido.
Ah, how did it go? Did you find...
Aquí está. Ah, solo me pide uno.
You've all done your part. Just leave the rest to to me.
Ok, está oscureciendo me parece. Vamos a comer macarrones en la noche.
Whoa, these macarons look
Oh, macarons.
You're cooking.
Boss's baking skills have always been famous. Everyone in the Spina knows how exceptionally talented she is.
Oh, it's just a hobby. There's no need to praise me for it like that.
Have you two seriously never considered joining us? You're so close to the boss, and she obviously trusts you with all her heart, so...
¿Acaso todavía tenemos
I
asuntos pendientes?
see. Is that why you have to always stay on the road?
Definitivamente.
You just happened to walk in on
Tengo
our
que buscar a
little
mi hermano
reunion.
perdido.
It's actually been quite a while since we last spent time together. Adventurers never stay in one place for long. The name of Spina di Rosula would just tie them down. Besides,
Algo así se podría
after
decir.
everything we've been through together, I'm sure our hearts would remain intertwined even if we found ourselves on opposite sides of the world.
Te doy toda la razón.
Even if Paimon was far beyond the horizon, she'd still remember the delicious taste
Tú
of
solo
love
piensas
with
con el
macarons.
estómago, Paimon.
I understand now. Then I am very lucky indeed to have been graced with the chance to meet the two of you. I will endeavor to make the most of this short yet fortuitous encounter, and enjoy every moment we spend together.
We've got no wine with us, but let's still toast with water in celebration of this moment.
Ok, Nibilet estaría contento, ok. Ay, ay. Creo haber oído algo por ahí. ¿Será algún animalito?
Cheers! Hey, what are you doing? Quick, join in on the toast.
Salud.
May your travels go smoothly, may the Spina continue to grow, and may our friendship last until the end of time. All set? Let's move out then.
Ok, ¿nos vamos?
I asked some old acquaintances in town to make Adele's uniform, so we should be able to pick it up right away.
¿Pero qué había aquí en el arbusto? Ok, no había nada, creo. Un hongo nomás había. Ok, tenemos que regresar entonces. Ok, esa es Adele. Es igualita. Un poquito más rubia, nomás le faltaría ser,
There,
pero...
Ludovine?
Ah, no.
How's business
Esta es
lately?
Ludovine. Pensé que era...
Mademoiselle of Spina di Rosula. I must say, your generous patronage is the one thing keeping me from going bankrupt.
Nonsense. We all know what a talented businesswoman you are.
My mistake, my mistake. I just got so used to calling her Demoiselle. Are you here for the uniform?
Yep. I forgot to drop by earlier when I was running errands around here.
I didn't expect Demoiselle to come and pick it up in person. It's just a uniform after all. Any of...
Navia's always liked to take even small things seriously.
Hey, that's not the only reason I'm here. We mostly just needed a walk to clear our heads. There
Bueno,
are few
sí,
things
pero...
more uplifting than taking the first step on a new journey.
Boss has got a point. Going on a trip with friends is always better than staying cooped up at home.
Very well. Please, wait here while I retrieve the uniform for you.
A ver, quiero ver ese uniforme. Para imaginarme a Navia vestido en ese... No, no, no. ¿Qué estoy diciendo? No, no, no. El atuendo de Navia ya es perfecto. ¿Para qué ver otro atuendo?
She hasn't given me any concrete reasons. All she says is that she really looks up to me. After we cleared her father's name, she became a lot more cheerful and outgoing. It's probably because she now knows for sure that her father was never a bad person. She said she used to be terrified
¿quién es
of
este
Papa.
tipo?
So, as a result, she found all the rest of the Spina super scary as well. But the Spina is very different now. She mustered up the courage to talk to me, and felt like I could really understand her.
Ambas han vivido una situación similar.
Yeah, you could say that. By uncovering the truth about the case, I was able to give her closure at the same time. She said that she wanted to become someone like me. Someone who could lend a hand to others, instead of standing still and waiting for others to help her.
From the sound of it, she'll be a wonderful addition to the Spina.
I think so
Definitivamente.
too. But for now, let's focus on giving her a great atmosphere to grow and thrive.
¿Quién es este?
She can commit to us once she's older, and can really make that decision for herself.
¿Quién es ese men? Definitivamente he oído algo, sí, es un men, es un tipo.
Is something up, traveler?
Vengan conmigo, alguien nos sigue.
Tailing? Oh, Paimon's coming.
I'll go check check it out too. Coulter, please hold on to this for me.
All right.
Ok.
Paimon saw them too. They headed up.
¡Corre, Navia! ¡Corre, corre!
Stop right there.
¡Corre, Navia! ¡Corre, corre, corre, corre! No puede ser que esté corriendo más rápido que Navia. No puede ser que esté corriendo más rápido que ella. Nada, mi objetivo es Magtinat. Ay. Ah, ahora sí corre más rápido.
We knew you were going to be difficult.
Y si yo me hubiera quedado atrás hubiera sido mejor,
Seems
porque
like if we
los
want them to
acorralábamos.
talk, we're gonna need to teach them a lesson first.
Brothers, there's no need to skulk in the dark anymore. Let's take them out.
¿A pelear? ¿Eso es lo que me estás diciendo? ¿Navia? Sí, Navia.
Umbrella warfare, I guess.
Me encanta el daño que hace Navia, hermano.
This one's got your name on it.
Ni siquiera tiene cargas. A ver, vamos a darle algunas cargas, a ver.
Go. This one's got your name on it.
Ah, creo que no pude conseguir cargas sin cargas, sin ningún cartucho. Estoy
Now,
haciendo
talk.
21.000 de daño.
Who are you? And why were you tailing us?
Wow. Magtinat.
Don't think we'll let you off easy if you keep silent.
No estamos solas, tenemos gente arriba y abajo, exacto. Somos una mafia.
How did it go, boss? Are any of you hurt?
If you thought they stood any chance against us, you were sorely mistaken. Anyway, stop playing tough and start talking. There won't be any room for negotiation once the Maison Gardiennage gets involved.
¿La qué? La misión jodina.
We're looking to get vengeance on Spina di Rosula.
¿Pero por qué?
We were discovered and can't beat you in a fight. We admit it. We lost.
Get revenge?
¿Pero por
Wait.
qué?
You're not Romeu's followers, are you?
Romeuf.
You actually know that name? But if you do, then surely you should understand why we hate you so much.
A ver, cálmate, hermano.
Indeed. You haven't got the faintest hope of winning right now.
Magtinat,
We were
tranquilo.
out drinking when we saw NAVIA. We got so angry we decided to follow you guys and look for an opportunity to really mess up your day. Too bad you guys messed up ours first.
Mientes.
Huh?
Algo más. Ustedes llevan todo el camino siguiéndonos.
You're pretty sharp. But so what? We didn't do anything. And now it should be pretty obvious that we can't do anything to you anyway. Seeing you like that just really ticked us off. And we let the drink go to our heads.
Listen, Callus is long dead. No matter what happened in the past, I want to be able to start things anew. I am the current president of Spina di Rosula. If your boss wants to talk with me, I'd be happy to meet with him. I won't press charges for your attack. That should also help demonstrate my sincerity.
Sí, porque si no se van donde Risley.
I understand. Thank you. I'll let our boss know.
But if you so much as think about pulling something like this again, I won't be so lenient next time. Understood.
Un escopetazo en la cabeza le meten.
All right. We get it. Come on, let's go.
Chao.
Are
El
you
gordito
sure
me da
it's
risa.
okay to just let them go like that, Navia?
I don't want to inherit my father's grudges, too. Moreover, when it comes to the Aquabus, I don't think what my father did was entirely correct either. If the other side is willing to talk, I'm happy to open the door for a reconciliation.
Ok, me
I
encanta esa
support
forma de
Boss's
pensar.
decision
Me encanta
as
esa
well.
forma de pensar.
The concept of an eye for an eye is a primitive practice that has no place in today's Spina di Rosula.
Yes. Plus, we already know that they're strapped for cash. If their financial situation is that dire, they don't have what it takes to challenge us. So this may be the best time to talk. I still think we should keep an eye out for Romeo's folks, though. If he decides to ignore the warning I gave his men, then we could still have a fight on our hands.
No.
Yeah, those guys definitely didn't look like big fans of yours.
I'd rather things not go that far, since though we haven't talked to each other for years. Once upon a time, we were all a part of the Spina di Rosula family.
Yep, that's how I feel as well. Anyway, now that we've sent them packing, we don't have to worry about those guys anymore. It's getting late already. So why don't we stay the night in the Fleuve Cendre? We can head back to Poisson tomorrow.
Poisson.
I'll also ask someone to write Florent a letter and inform him of everything that happened here today, so he can increase security around Poisson and be on guard against any suspicious individuals.
Do we have to stay in the Fleuve Cendre again? Even the pillows there smell like seaweed.
Sorry, that's just what happens when you live near water and don't get much sunlight. Poisson's pretty much the same though, so I've long since gotten used to it.
O sea, Navia huele a
We can
algas.
still go out in the evening for some grilled fish and drinks, so. Bet you there'll be people singing sea shanties too. How does
Dame
that
una
sound?
fonta. Eso es lo que necesito.
Huh. That does sound pretty cool. Okay, Paimon's on board now. Let's go!
Ok, Río Ceniciento. Siempre me gustó la estética de este sitio. Ok, nos vamos a tomar una rica fonta.
This place is starting to grow on Paimon. If you think about it, it would be kind of weird if the Spina's base at the court was some super luxurious building like the Palais Mermonia.
Pero ¿por qué no podría serlo?
Totally. Right on the money, Paimon. Although, of course, with the continued growth of the Spina, Papa wanted Poisson to eventually grow into a metropolis, not unlike the court. He was a very ambitious man, who rarely looked behind or beneath him. For better or worse, that always made him stand out from the crowd.
And that's also why people hated him just as much as they loved him.
All right. Why don't you go wait for me at the restaurant? I'll go do some prep and I'll get someone to tidy up your room while I'm at it. You can use the same room as last time. You still remember the room number?
La verdad que ni me acuerdo cuál.
Hard to forget when there are only so many rooms here after all.
Oh, did I just hear someone taking a dig at Fleuve Cendre? I'll tell my guys to stuff your pillows full of actual seaweed right
Esa
now.
cara.
Oh, Paimon's sorry! Please have mercy, Navia. If you do that, then Paimon really won't be able to sleep at all.
I was just kidding. Be on your way now.
Ok, a mimir entonces. Siéntate dentro, espera que el banquete comience. Ah, ¿dónde? Ah, aquí. Oh. La noche transcurre tranquila mientras disfrutan de la cena y de la actuación. Cuando todo en calma, Paimon y tú regresas a su habitación y de repente
Hello?
alguien... Ah,
Are
Navia.
you asleep yet?
Oh. ¿Quieres jugar Monopolio, Navia?
Oh, no, not at all. I just figured that since we don't get to enjoy nights like these very often, we should try to enjoy it to the fullest. Wanna go fishing? I've got some rods and lures ready.
Oh, so that's the prep you were talking about. Sure, we'll come.
Pero ¿por qué no puedo...? ¿Por qué la viajera no puede hablar?
Hopefully I didn't wake you or anything.
Si nos invitas uno, no podemos negar. Está bien.
Don't worry. You don't have to do any actual fishing if you're too tired. Just think of it as keeping me company. How does that sound?
Ay, no, ya veo que esto se va a volver bien
let's go.
sad.
To the fishing spot.
Esto va a ser bien sad. No. Ala.
How can you call this fishing when you're using a fully automatic rod?
Ah, ok.
What's the problem? Lots of people in Poisson use rods like
Poisson.
these.
Oh, y caña automática, eso me gusta.
But shouldn't fishing be all about, you know, attentively watching the float and then excitedly reeling in the catch when you finally hook something?
Well, that's one way to enjoy fishing. What do you think, traveler?
Bueno, nos ahorra energía y tiempo.
That's how I feel as well. To me, I'm happy as long as I catch some fish.
Honestly, Paimon's mainly shocked at how much energy you still have at this hour. Usually by this time of night, it's a struggle for Paimon to even keep her eyes open.
Huh. It might just be something that runs in my family.
That's a thing?
O sea que no duermen.
I'm sure you'd get even sleepier if I delved more deeply into it. Anyway, I was just thinking about how grateful I am to my mother, as well as the rest of the Spina. My father always had a lot of unrealistic expectations for me. But the more that he tried to get me to become like him, the less I wanted to listen to what he had to say.
Yo creo que como todos.
My mother never had those kinds of expectations, though. I've heard that she had only one wish for me, which was that I would have a happy and secure childhood. All the members of the Spina greatly respected her wish, so no matter what I did as a child, they were happy to humor me. Can you imagine? Whenever my father wanted to scold me for something I'd done, everyone would form up into 2 rows and just stand silently and listen to him rant. Malus and Silver were always there too. No matter what Papa yelled, nobody else would say a word. Eventually, Papa must have recognized scolding me over trivial matters was pointless, because he eventually stopped getting on my case so often.
Paimon would have never guessed.
Yeah. Looking back on it now as an adult, I can hardly believe how patient and kind everyone was. When I was young, I often thought that I could do whatever I wanted, because there'd
Todos,
always be someone there to
como
clean up
todos,
after me.
siempre hemos tenido esa idea.
But once, I saw Malus come back wounded. He wouldn't tell me how he'd been injured, but I could tell it had something to do with me. I learned then that there's always a cost to making a mistake. The more you care about those around you, the more you should care about doing the right thing to the best of your abilities. Because if you do falter, there'll inevitably come a time when you'll have to face the consequences. And when that time comes, those most precious to you really will throw themselves in front of you.
No.
And pay the price for your mistakes.
Navia.
Sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. I wasn't planning to talk about sad things tonight. Basically, I was just saying that the nurturing atmosphere of the Spina must have been my mother's legacy, rather than my father's. And if that's the only way that I can continue to feel her love, then I'd like to pass that warmth on.
Is that why you let those guys go today?
Mm-hmm. Although, maybe there's a part of not wanting to repeat the mistakes of the past. I want to be reasonable, at least. Hey, look! I think you've got something on the line!
Pescado. ¿Qué picamos?
But why isn't the rod automatically reeling it in?
Oh, there must be something wrong with how I installed the mechanism. It was my first time putting one of those rods together.
Oh.
We can't let it get away. Come on, you two. Let's catch it.
Ok.
You want Paimon to help too?
Paimon, tú puedes flotar. Ayudas a cargar la cuerda. Tiran de la caña con todas sus fuerzas y consiguen capturar un gigantesco pez. Pasa el tiempo y continúan atrapando peces. Sin embargo, Navia no es capaz de pescar ni un solo... Ay, no. Convencida que no es su idea de ser, Nadia se dispone a volver a su habitación. Es entonces cuando Paimon se percata de lo que estaba pasando.
You didn't attach a hook to your line?
Oh. Ay, Navia. Ay, Navia.
Stop wasting time. The
Oh,
boss ain't gonna wait
Martinat,
all
¿qué
day.
quiere Martinat? ¿Qué está haciendo?
We'll go ahead with the operation tomorrow.
Ey,
Use that information as you wish.
este no es... No, maldito traidor.
Well, your rod was
Traidor,
missing a part
Coulter.
too, so I guess that makes it fair.
Coulter traidor.
Well, if we're just talking about the number of missing parts, sure. Oh, never mind. Paimon
La
won't
cara de
keep her
Paimon.
eyes open anymore.
All right, go to bed. I had a great time today.
Hasta mañana, Navia. Duerme bien.
See you tomorrow.
Ok. Automáticamente.
So, how was last night?
Traidor.
Good night's sleep?
Paimon dreamt that
Pero
she
hubiera
danced
sido
with
mejor
the
que no lo
sea
mostraran, que
stars.
fuera una sorpresa que él era el traidor. Hubiese sido más emocionante. Ahora ya sé ya cómo va a acabar esto, creo. Zayn es una mala influencia.
I didn't know you had such a great sense of humor.
Me da risa como todos reaccionan de la misma forma a los chistes de Zaino, independientemente si es Zaino o no el que cuenta los chistes.
Anyway, let's head out. I'll arrange for a boat to take us back to Poisson. I'm sure Adele will be happy to see you two again.
Paimon hopes she'll really appreciate your gift.
I hope so too.
Ok, nos regresamos a Poisson.
Adele, we're back. We brought you a gift from the court too.
A ver, ¿se parece o no se parece a Adele? No se parece en nada. Si se pinta el cabello de rubio podría ser.
Okay, Adele. Just Miss Navia would be fine.
Ah, Adele es la niña. No me acordaba de ella, de verdad.
Besides the gift, I've also got another surprise.
Bueno, no sé, peor todavía. Hola.
Oh, it's you two. It has been a while.
De Coralie sí me
indeed.
acuerdo, pero no me acuerdo de
Thank you
ella.
so much for your help on Jacques' case. I've heard that you also helped save all of Fontaine. You're truly just like the great heroes of legend.
You're really amazing. And if Miss Navia's your friend, then she must be super amazing too. What's in this thing? Can I look?
Of
Dale una
course.
ojeada.
Go ahead.
Oh, un traje pero de gala de última generación, ¿ah? Última moda.
A Spina di Rosula uniform. Is it for me? But isn't it a bit big?
Well, it's a gift for future you. When you first told me that you were interested in joining the Spina, I was overjoyed. But it's the Spina's responsibility to protect everyone as well. Being a member means becoming involved in all kinds of dangerous situations. And since you're still young, I don't want your mom to have to worry about your safety. So I tried to
hay que
calm
enseñarles
them by
desde
telling
pequeños,
you that you'll
entonces.
have to wait until you're older. But this uniform is a promise that you can join us once you're old enough to wear it.
Oh, so that's it. Well, thank you so much, Miss Navia. I'll work hard and grow up as fast as I can.
Ah, así no es como funciona, niña.
But you can't really grow up faster by working hard. You've got to be patient.
Tienes que comer todas tus
Everyone.
verduras.
I'm really grateful that you
No,
remembered my
no comer
daughter's wish
macarrones todos los
and
días
took
como
it
Navia,
seriously.
pero sí comer
Thanks to the
todas tus
protection
verduras.
of the Spina, even though her father's no longer with us, we've still felt plenty of warmth and security.
Oh, it's the least we could do. As long as you live in Poisson, even if you're not an official member, you're...
Boss!
¿Qué pasó, Florent?
Huh? Is something up, Florent?
I've got something urgent to report. Romeo and his folks have gathered outside Poisson and even shipped in a huge pile of explosives.
Rayos.
What? Explosives? What do they want?
Volar en
It
pedazos
seems like
pues
they've
son,
been
o sea,
planning this
es
for some
obvio.
time. We started investigating as soon as we received your letter yesterday. But Romeo and his folks must have gotten wind as well, because they abandoned their former posts before we could even check on them. We investigated their tracks and found out that they're after Poisson.
Oh, no.
Could they have smartened up since we caught them red-handed at the court?
Seems like they've got no interest in sitting down and talking at all. We should have gone straight to the Maison Gardiennage.
Sorry, I underestimated the situation. Well, too late now, I suppose. Florent, where are they keeping their explosives?
Florent.
On
¿Dónde
the
está
hill to the east of
Florent?
Poisson,
A
near the
Poisson.
Clementine line.
They
Van
want
a
to blow
volar la
up the
cualínea, otra
Clementine line?
cualínea que va a quedar destrozada si no los detenemos.
Certainly sounds like it.
Romeo and his followers hate the Spina and everything to do with Callus. And the Aquabus was the source of their contention. If they manage to blow up the Aquabus line, all that rubble will come crashing down the hill and straight into Poisson.
Are they
Oh, no.
insane? There's tons of innocent people in Poisson.
A Poisson.
Yeah. If they've been planning this for ages, they're definitely not going to let this opportunity slip by. We have to issue an evacuation order to the townspeople and get them as far away from the entrance as possible. That should...
Let's get everyone
pardon.
onto our ship. That should be the safest place.
My dear partner, can I leave the Clementine line to you? If
Definitivamente,
the explosives
déjame.
do go off, not only would the people of Poisson be in danger, any aquabuses using the line would plummet to the ground. Let's stop their insanity first. then settle the score with them.
Buen plan.
Leave it to us, Navia. Please stay safe too.
Let's go.
Let's go, you two. We've got to act fast. Miss
Florent
Coralie,
Cotta.
please take Adele to the ship.
¡Ey, ey! ¡Hijo de tu madre! Eres un traidor.
Watch out, boss!
Traidor.
What do you think you're doing, Coulter?
I thought all the annoying little hindrances had left, but I still couldn't get rid of you.
You mean this was all a trick? So that you'd be left alone with me? Oh. I get it now. You knew about their plans all along. You only told us they were doing badly so that we'd drop our guard.
Not quite. Though I share their positions on some issues, I've never cared for his more radical ideas.
Eres peor que eso.
That's because, out of the entire Spina di Rosula, I only hate you. Only you, Navia.
¿Pero por qué?
You better stick close to me.
Romeo promised me that he would leave Poisson alone if I could just take you out.
No vas a
It was like
poder
you were
hacerlo.
glued at the hip to that pesky traveler. You never gave me a chance to
Mano,
make my move.
estás idiota si piensas que aún así sin tener la
Romeo has
viajera
lost his patience.
tienes
I
una
didn't have to be
oportunidad de
here,
acabar
you
con
know,
Navia.
but I swore
Tremendo
that I'd kill
escopetazo
you,
con el
even if it
paraguas y
meant
listo,
being
ya está, se
buried
acabó
with you
todo.
in the rubble.
Why?
Only someone as clueless about the past as you would ask such a foolish question. You never saw the heyday of Spina di Rosula, nor did you ever live through the golden age of Poisson. But I saw it all with my own eyes, and then I had to watch it all die, little by little. And it was all
Pero
because
todo
of you,
cambia, pues,
Navia.
mano.
Clementine died because of you. Callus died because of you. Malus and Silver died because of you. And so many more dead. Everyone dead. All because of you.
So the shock and grief you showed us before, that was in Act 2?
Now you're catching on. I heard Malus was dead the moment I got out. Did you know? Down there in that blasted fortress, I spent a long time thinking about what happened and resolving to apologize to Malus as soon as I got out. Back then, because of that aqua bus, we had a huge fallout. I was convinced that all he cared about was loyalty, and that he had completely lost his capacity for critical thinking. The years passed by in a blur after that. I thought I had finally begun to understand him, and that he could help me relive the good old days again. But then he died, and it was because of you again, Navia. It's always because of you.
Este es un hijo de...
I once loved the Spina and Poisson more than anyone else. But what is left now of either besides death and ruin? You've single-handedly destroyed everything that was beautiful. Everything I've ever loved.
Don't listen to him, boss! He's just spouting nonsense!
Have you ever considered that maybe the people around you don't actually care about you at all? Have you ever considered that maybe you only get respect because you're Callus and Clementine's child? That you've never done anything worthy? That you're just a big nothing? Have you ever considered that maybe people don't stay in Poisson because of you, but only because they have such beautiful memories of the past before you came?
Because if you do falter, there'll inevitably come a time when you'll have to face the consequences. And when that time comes, those most precious to you really will throw themselves in front of you. Yeah, looking back on it now as an adult, I can hardly believe how patient and
Navia,
kind everyone was.
tienes que mantener la compostura, Navia.
Is that really
No
why
te
they
puedes
support
quebrar ahorita.
me? Is their kindness real?
Shut your mouth! I, for one, really like Miss Navia, and my mom loves her too. I don't know how to explain it, but I like her, and that's that.
I'm sure Mr. Malus would be extremely disappointed in you right now. You've somehow managed to pin the blame for every mistake and tragedy in our history on the boss herself.
Get out of the way, Florent. I don't want to hurt you.
You're gonna have to. Boss, there's no time for this. Stop hesitating and get out of here before you get buried.
Maybe you think you're being the realist by painting the history of the Spina and Poisson like this. But the love that I felt from everyone was just as real. I felt it. They've helped me get to where I am. And even now,
Exacto.
I will continue to believe in that love. So let me show you just how much I love the Spina di Rosula.
Uy, es hora de meter escopetazos. Ven aquí, hermano. Oh, son varios.
Umbrella warfare, I guess. Coming at ya.
Oh, me encanta el daño.
This one's got your name on it.
Lo malo es que no puedo aplicar. No puedo aplicar otro elemento. Así que les va a tener que caer eso.
Feeling lucky?
¡Au!
Watch out.
Me gusta el daño que hace, hermano. Ya está. ¡Ey! Volví a ser la viejera. Ahí está, pues.
Laurent, I'll leave the town to you. Summon the other members and help with the evacuation of the townspeople. If you find any of Coulter's accomplices, subdue them quickly, and don't give them the chance to harm any ordinary civilians. I can't allow my partner to face the danger on the Clementine line alone.
Got it, boss. I'm on it. Are you okay, Navia?
I don't know, but I have to go.
Sí, está bien, Navia, tranquila. Hace un rato Paimon y tú fueron a toda prisa a la entrada de Poisson.
Let's hurry up there. We have to protect the Clementine line. If they're gonna blow up the waterway, they must have planted the explosives next to the support pillars.
Ok, hay que buscar explosivos ahora. Alcance el destino en 180 segundos, ok. Ay. No quiero pelear con estos tipos porque... ¿Y dónde puede estarla? Elimina los obstáculos, siga el pilar de la cual línea. No quiero pelear con ustedes, estoy con la viajera Hidro, no sirve de nada. Ok, hacer esto con la viajera Hidro es una pesadilla.
Must be the explosives, right? And this is the control mechanism. How can we disable it? Oh, Paimon's too scared to touch any of this stuff.
Aquí, es una llave, es una cerradura.
There's a strangely shaped hole here. What is it for?
Cerra una llave, definitivamente tiene la forma.
Maybe one of the people we just beat up has the key. Okay, you take this side, Paimon will take the other. Let's see what we can find.
Y Paimon, y si uno de ellos se levanta y te ataca, ¿cómo te voy a defender? ¿Quién de ellos puede tener la llave?
Oh, you found it! That's amazing!
No puede ser, lo encontré a la primera. Ya está.
That should do it, right? Navia and Florent should be able to relax now.
Será mejor que volvamos a comprobar que todo está
you're
bien.
right. They could have set explosives elsewhere too. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Oh.
They're gonna bury Poisson!
La viajera Geo volvió.
Great work, partner. Just leave the rest to me.
A ver.
Watch out, Navia! You can't block them all!
Block. I'm doing this the Spina way.
A ver. ¡Pum! A escopetazos. Oh, esa sonrisa, hermano. Pasado un tiempo llegan los miembros de la oficina judicial y arrestan a todos los relacionados con la banda de Romov.
I heard from Thierry that even they're your enemies now. They were once a part of Spina di Rosula. Do you plan to settle this privately with them?
I have nothing more to say to them. Regardless of whether their hatred and anger towards me or the Spina was justified, anyone who's willing to endanger innocent civilians is no longer sane enough to even be worth trying to talk to. Please prosecute them in accordance to the law. Spina di Rosula will not raise any objections.
Sounds good. We're very appreciative of your help. Without it, the consequences would have been far worse. All right, this operation is a wrap. Take him away.
Mándalos donde Risley.
Navia! We saved everyone!
Yeah. Luckily, we were just in time.
Te ves un poco triste.
It's probably because I expended too much elemental energy at once. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me.
But you usually glow up whenever other people compliment you. Paimon's not used to seeing you like this.
Tal vez debamos ayudarte, ¿no?
Boss, we managed to catch all the infiltrators in the town. The Maison Gardiennage is taking them away as well. Seems like Romeo really went all in on this mission. If he sent literally everyone he had, though, that also means we've caught them all too. We wanna...
Got it. That's
Okay.
good at least.
Los capturamos a todos. Y Coulter, te vas a ir al diablo, Coulter.
Coulter, I can understand how you feel. The things that we lost, they're forever beyond our grasp now. I am not Callus, and I will also never become him. The Spina and the Poisson that you loved are both gone. But I will not change how I feel about our future. I still believe that this is a great opportunity to start anew. I will spend more of what the Spina earns on the betterment of Poisson. What's more, I'd also like to propose some changes to the aquabus routes, so that one day, the people of Poisson will enjoy the boons it brings as well.
Hay que pensar siempre en lo mejor
I
de
know what you're
Pozo.
trying to say. Mr. Callus would never have said anything like that. There are too many things in life that are just beyond our control. In that, we are the same.
Henceforth, you are no longer a member of Spina di Rosula, but once you're discharged from the fortress again, you're welcome to pay another visit
Y el
to
men
Poisson.
acababa de salir del Fuente Meropide,
you,
ahora tiene que regresar. De regreso a la cárcel. Mándale saludos a Risley.
As I thought. Boss really is a kind and gentle person.
She is also, I must say, a truly unlucky person. Thank you for protecting the Clementine line. I was actually really scared, you know. I mean, even the Callus line won't be getting rebuilt anytime soon. If I'd lost the Clementine line too, I wouldn't know how to live with myself. A name is a way to etch a memory onto the world. Losing the line that bears her name, that I can see every day, would be like losing my mother all over again. Seeing it still standing there, tall and proud, It makes me really happy.
What happened while we were gone? Honestly, you look more upset than tired or anything.
Just give her some time.
Sí, necesita... No te preocupes. Te acompañaré de vuelta a casa. Definitivamente.
Thank you so much. Can you give me a hand? I really don't have much strength left.
Estoy dispuesto a cargarte como una princesa si quieres. Oh.
I want to ask you something. And please, tell me the truth. Do you really see me as your partner?
Pero es que esa...
Of course.
That's good then. Hearing that, it brings me more relief than I can say.
La viajera habló. ¡Wow!
How do you feel, Navia? Any better after taking a break?
I feel quite a bit better. But I should probably still rest for a few more days. Sorry, partner. I said some weird things earlier. Feel free to just ignore me.
Bueno, nunca habías dudado de ti misma.
I used to think that I'd never doubt myself. But you could say I've discovered that I'm not as strong as I thought I was. Coulter mentioned
Nah,
my
eres más
parents,
fuerte que la mayoría de personas que conozco.
as well as Malus and Silver. It's all thanks to them that I've made it this far in life.
Desearía ser tan fuerte como tú.
Do you think they ever regretted the choices they made?
Qué rápido oscureció.
Has my existence made this world a better place?
Don't think like that, Navia. You've already done more than enough. No matter what others think, we'll always support you to the end of the world.
Siempre.
Well, since it's ended up like this, I suppose it's time for me to make a confession as well. There's something that I've been keeping from you as well, boss. Please, follow me.
Las estatuas.
Florent, I hope you can understand that I can't deal with any more shocking revelations right now.
Don't worry. This surprise will be a pleasant one.
Las estatuas. Las estatuas.
Why is everyone gathered here?
¿Quiénes son todos ellos?
And what's this?
La estatua, ya sabía ya.
This was supposed to be a gift to you from everyone in the town. We were originally planning to
Ah,
show
es
it to
una
you once
pintura
it was
gigante.
finished. But special times call for special measures. I've never seen you look so defeated before. So I've decided
es
to
un
show you the
boceto.
designs before the final product was done.
Do I really look that bad?
Well, if you're ready, I'll unveil the present.
A ver. Ay, no. Ay, ay, ay.
This is Papa, Mother, and me.
We designed the look for Miss Clementine based on old camera records, as well as personal recollections from members of the Spina.
Wow! This is the statue you mentioned before?
It is indeed. To be honest, we decided on the design a long time ago, and gave the sculptor permission to begin working. We only asked Boss to decide on a design so she wouldn't realize we had already started.
How could we only have statues of Mr. Callis and Mrs. Clementine?
Even though Boss is still young, we've all seen the work she's put in regarding the whole synth business and the rebuilding of Poisson.
We wanted to commemorate her contributions with a statue as well.
I don't know what Spina di Rosula was like in the past, but I know it's a great organization now.
With Navia around, we're not worried about this place's future.
We are gathered here today to tell our boss that we support you and believe in you wholeheartedly. I believe everyone is here for you, not the glory days.
That's what we believe as well.
Y siempre va a tener fe. Sí,
Thank
Navia,
you
eres lo
so
máximo.
much, everyone. then I'll be brave and just accept everyone's support for what it is. This really is quite the surprise. I never thought that I'd have the chance to stand next to my mother.
Ah, eso. Excelente. Ay, Navia. ¿No hay nadie más? ¿Todos se fueron? Wow.
It seems like I started to question myself a bit too much. I'll pick myself up again and become a more reliable president for all of you. Looking back on it, I'm honestly embarrassed by how I acted earlier.
A ver, ¿qué te parece el regalo de la gente?
I'm sure everyone longs for that one thing in life that seems trivial to others, but they themselves can never obtain. To me, that would be a family portrait. I've always been super jealous of other people's family photos. I've never thought I'd receive a family portrait of my own. Especially not like this. It seems like
Ese
I'm not
gato.
such an unlucky person after all.
Oh, Navia. Creo que tiene otros diálogos, ¿no? Vamos a...
Seems like I started to question. Looking back on it, I'm
¿Qué
honestly
podrías contarme
embarrassed
sobre
by
tu
how,
madre?
you
A
know,
ver.
I've thought about it before. Though my mother only wanted me to live a happy life, that's actually a tall order as well. In practice, it's just as hard to achieve my father's expectations for me. Even though my parents had very different personalities, they always had a lot of respect for each other. The Aquabus project was a monumental project that stood to benefit all of Fontaine. It would have been a little close-minded to assess or evaluate it only from the perspective of the clan. I think that's probably why she didn't step in to mediate.
Oh, perdón, Navia, te interrumpí. Lo siento. ¿Y el último diálogo?
It seems like I started to question my... Looking back on it, I'm honestly embarrassed by how I acted earlier.
¿A qué vino eso de que si creo que el corazón cree?
Whoa. Why'd you have to remind me? Please don't say that again. It's super embarrassing for me.
Ah, te pesqué,
Forget
Navia.
it now. Please forget that I ever said anything. Okay.
No puedo olvidarme
Please
eso.
keep it a secret between us from now on. Please don't ever mention it again.
Ay, Navia. Ay, Navia. Y bien, entonces creo que eso ha sido todo por esta aventura. Ha sido impresionante. Me ha gustado mucho. Qué buen personaje es Navia. Creo que es uno de los mejores personajes. Uno de los personajes mejor escritos que ha habido, ¿eh? Me gusta mucho su historia. Me gusta mucho toda esa carga que ella lleva. O sea, te la hace un personaje bastante fuerte, pero que sabe que en el fondo pues tiene que soportar todo eso, ¿no? Pero de verdad que me gusta mucho su personalidad, la forma en cómo ella, de todas maneras, a pesar de toda la tristeza que lleva, trata de levantarse y mostrar su lado más positivo, ¿no? Me gustan ese tipo de personajes porque sabes que pueden enfrentar todo lo que sea, porque no hay nada que ellos no puedan lograr, ¿no? De verdad me he divertido mucho con esta historia. Ay, Navia, no quiero verte llorar de nuevo. Pero creo que antes de irme quizás debería lanzar unos cuantos deseos más. Así que... ¡Oh! ¡No!
Esta parte de mi vida, esta pequeña parte, se llama felicidad.
¡Oh! ¡Genial! ¡What! Y bien, ahora sí. Creo que ahora sí puedo irme contento. Puedo irme a dormir contento. Son casi la 1 de la mañana. Oh, no. Pero bien, espero que el video les haya gustado. No olviden suscribirse y dejar su like si es que quieren ver más videos así. Y nos estamos viendo en una próxima oportunidad. ¡Chau!
Take the chance and with my
Come pull me out. I'm out of sheep to count this overkill.